Alert, alert, this is Charlotte Shotgun.
It's Joel Tatum, and it's that Little Gay Talk Show.
All the way from Houston, Texas.
Let's get into it, girl.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, welcome.
Welcome.
It's another episode of that Little Gay Talk Show with your host, Joel Tatum.
And Charlotte Shotgun.
Hey. So, Charlotte, how was your week? Oh, I just celebrated a birthday, y'all, over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. He turned 34.
Okay, we're going to go with that. We're going to temporarily go with that. So, yes, I turned 34 in quotations. It was really 53. But I turned 34 over the weekend, and it was a fun weekend. I spent it with some friends. They took me out to dinner.
I saw you.
I know. I came up there. Came up to visit you at the Eagle. We weren't going to stay, but then my other friend Chris was like, "No, girl, you're going to stay. You're going to have some drinks. We're going to make sure you get home." I said, "Okay."
And then you went to the DVS Ripcord.
Then we went to the DVS Ripcord in Houston, Texas, and
Forgot what you did.
We forgot what we did. Well, we sat at a table and we had more cocktails that Chris bought. And then Chris was like, "Okay, I'm drunk. You're drunk." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm drunk." So he's like, "Let's call Ubers and go home." So we called Ubers and we went home. Mm-hmm. And I was the most responsible drunk on the planet. I made sure I had my uniform ready for work. I made sure I knew where everything, my mask was, my keys were. Nothing got thrown around the house like it usually does, like it used to when I would get like plastered and I'd wake up in the morning and go, "Where are my glasses? Where's my this? Where's my that?"
I just roll out of bed. I'm like, "Here, you get what you got."
No, I woke up Sunday morning and had everything ready. Went to work and then they said, "Hey, Joel, we heard it was your birthday yesterday. Why didn't you tell us?" And I'm like, because I didn't want to make a big deal about it. So, I'm here to make money. And he's like, "You know what? There's too many people here. Why don't you go home and relax?"
That's awesome. At least you got a good birthday, because you always said you have a terrible birthday. So.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
this year was pretty good.
Actually, it was pretty good.
I think compared to the rest of the year, the beginning of...
I think the rest of the year, and finally, I got all my finances worked out finally.
That's awesome.
I'd been stressing out about that for weeks. Yeah. No, actually for months. I've been stressing out about it. I almost thought I was going to be homeless for a while. And I was actually planning on where I was going to put everything in storage, where I was going to live. There was an ad in the paper, well, not in the paper, but there was an ad online for a room at a church with a bunch of nuns. And I'm actually thinking, I can live the nun life. Well, I mean, not the nun life, but I can live the life where I'm, abstaining from stuff and home by 8, in bed by 9. Up by 5.
That sounds like my schedule was the opposite.
Until I found another place to live, of course, because I'm going to be honest, I would be looking for another place to live, like, immediately. Mm-hmm. I have been in situations where I have been temporarily homeless, but I always found a place to live within days.
Yeah, everything comes into place.
Mm-hmm. I've amazed myself. Some of my friends have been amazed at the fact that I once walked around the corner.
And you found an apartment?
I found an apartment. The day that my friend said, "Hey, you need to find a place to live because we're tired of you being here." And I'm like, okay. "Well, how long do I have?" And they're like, "Well, we're going to give you a month." And I went, "Okay." I walked around the corner. I saw for lease. Walked into the office, paid the deposit, told them, went back home, said, "I'm moving out the next day." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yep." Took my pillow, blanket, and my clothes and went to my new apartment the next day.
Just walk on over.
And luckily it was all bills paid, so I didn't have to worry about getting
that's awesome.
the lights on and everything else. So it was all bills paid. So she said, "Well, when do you need the apartment?" I said, "As soon as you possibly can." She goes, "Well, I have one already ready. Hey. So you can move in anytime you want." And I'm like, "I'm moving in tomorrow." And that was that. So I paid the rent, I paid the deposit, I paid first month's rent, and I was in. And my friends were like,
"You did it."
"Oh my God. Are you sure you don't want to stay one more?" "Nope. I'm out. You told me to get out." "You told me you were sick of me." So Yeah, I don't play.
So, we have a very special guest here today.
We do have a special guest, and
let me elaborate so everybody gets a little gist of who he is. A couple of years ago, we met at a bar, and he assisted me for a lot of drag shows, helped me expand my drag horizon financially, and just put myself out there. One of my really good friends, he helped me move out of a very toxic roommate that I had. Also helped me leave a very toxic bar that I worked at. Really good friend of mine. We did a podcast together where we interviewed a bunch of drag queens around the U.S. Unfortunately, the podcast is no longer there because all those people that we interviewed don't like us.
Can you find like back episodes?
Yeah, they're on SoundCloud.
Oh, they're on SoundCloud.
Okay. If you search my name, you'll find them. That's why I added the Z.
Well, I was on SoundCloud for a little bit, but then they wanted me to pay, and I'm like, I don't want to be.
Yeah, our episodes are like.
I'm like, no, I'm not paying for this. So,
but long story short, really good friend of mine, really good friend, helped me get out of a really bad place, and was super supportive of all my crazy ass decisions. And his name is David, and he's also a teacher, which is pretty cool because he went from being roommates for a crazy ass drag queen to now he's like working for like the Democratic Party and GSA and all these crazy events
in Florida.
All the way in Florida,
a red state.
Are we a red state too?
Yeah. So we share that in common. I mean, we are in Texas, so we share that in common. Amazingly enough, most people don't seem to realize this. Trump only won this state by 6 percentage points. So it was a very close race here in Texas. So
they said by the next election, it's going to be blue.
Yeah, which scares a lot of Republicans in this state right now. Yeah, because
there's a lot of schools and stuff, and all the major cities and stuff are full of like kids.
Well, the bigger cities in Texas, Dallas, Houston, Austin, they vote blue. Amazingly enough, I was actually surprised by Dallas. Dallas surprised me the most, but same. Dallas votes blue. But Dallas.
They said I'm not from. I'm not from Texas. I'm from Houston.
Has had some historic elections over the last few years. Dallas has voted in 5 black women for judicial positions a year and a half ago, which was amazing. Had never been done in literally any state ever. So that was an amazing. Dallas has really come a long way. So has Houston. Certain neighborhoods in Houston, there's a lot of Trump, but there was a lot more Biden. Yeah. So actually, Biden did win in Houston. So we are looking towards the future where the state is probably going to go blue very soon.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Florida, maybe a few more elections, but we'll see.
I think Florida just goes back and forth.
Well, it's because of the North Florida. It's all like hillbillies. So.
And I really do think that Florida goes back and forth. But we're going to get more into that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and... Do
you want to say hi, David?
Hi. What's going on?
Well, David, I'm going to be honest. Here we are. We're looking at you on screen, and we were talking earlier. We talked for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, I hope he can hear us.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I know. We were like, because we were talking, and I kept looking at the screen, and I'm like, oh, he's kind of busy. I wonder if he.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know when you wanted me to come in. I was like, I'll just wait for the intro, and when you're ready, I'll get started. But I've been listening. I've been taking notes, so I have to. That's like my life. I'm always taking notes on every conversation, just to know exactly what's up. But yeah.
Okay, so.
I guess we could talk about I don't know. I think pretty interesting things that you do.
Well, do we want to go with David the teacher, or do we want to?
Do you want to
go with David? Though whatever direction you'd like to go. I wear many. I hate this phrase, but I wear many hats. So You can choose whichever of my hats you want me to put on at the moment, or I could wear multiple.
Well, I mean, like a formal introduction, first, last name, all the stuff that you do, that kind of stuff. I don't want to go with just David the teacher the entire.
No problem. Yeah, so my name is David Zatyko. I'm from Rochester, New York, originally, and basically I lived up there for a long time. That's where my family is based. And my parents, their families have been there for a long time and stuff. Goes back a couple generations in Rochester, New York. And I was like, you know what? I need to get out of here. My senior year of college, actually, I dated this dude who was just like a total dick. And I was like, I need to get out of there. So I moved down to Florida for after I graduated. I went to Binghamton University, which is a state school up in New York. And after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with the cold. I'm done with shitty people, and I'm going to come down to Florida. And what do I find? More shitty people. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, at least it's warm, and there's some beaches. So if you
oh God, yeah,
shitty people, at least you can go. You know what? I'm going to the beach and having a margarita. So fuck you. See you later.
Very true. Everyone, the only difference between Texas and Florida is that in Florida, people have the beach. But I guess even in Florida, or even in Texas, some people have the beach, right?
Yes.
You got Galveston.
Yeah, Galveston's not.
Yeah, the beaches here are nothing, are gross.
Yeah, I heard they're very like swampy, kind of like a lot of algae and stuff, right?
I haven't been to it, but I heard that they if you go too far in, they'll take you under. I guess because of the way that because erosion or fucking something is just like
just how the beach is shaped.
Yeah,
the water.
And it's like dangerous water. So.
Well, over the
Yikes.
That's Galveston though. There's other beaches that are
yeah.
Over the last couple of years, we've seen more blue water in Galveston than we've ever seen before. That might have something. That probably has a lot to do with global warming. That probably has a lot to do with global warming. And if global warming has one good effect, it's the fact that the water isn't so murky and brown in Galveston.
It's a good sign.
The
maybe.
beaches further south are actually quite beautiful.
In Corpus Christi.
From Corpus Christi, crispy.
So what is it? I don't even know what it is. Corpus Christi, not crispy. You will get crispy if you're on the beach too long.
Your body will get crispy. You'll be the Corpus Christi or Corpus Crispy.
I once went to the beach with a very fair-skinned redhead who did not bring sunscreen to the beach. And I, of course, I got melanin in my skin. But I still have I had my sunblock. I had my sunscreen. I brought like an SPF 35 because I'm like, I don't think I need it that high. I mean, come on. And by the way, I have burned before because black people used to tell me black people don't burn. And I'm like, okay, well, I could be out in the sun doing my thing. I burned. I had I've seen my partner Tony burn a couple times, so that's definitely that's a myth.
And he's pretty dark skinned, so it happens. My thing to protecting myself, I just I go tanning at the gym, and that way when I go to the beach, I'm all safe. And I don't know if that's exactly how that works, but it makes me think. It makes me think that it's keeping me safe. I'm not getting sunburned. Maybe I'm getting melanoma, but who knows? So we'll see. Okay. Someday we'll know.
Well, into that
scientists will tell us.
Yes. Well, into that story, he was crispy red the next day. I mean, I have never seen a human being that red. We had a good time at the beach, but I had never seen a human being that red before.
I can imagine.
In all my life, I didn't even know white people could get that red. But he was red. Like I said, he was a redhead, fair-skinned. He did use my SPF 35, but it didn't work. And I'm like, that's what you get for not bringing your sunscreen to the beach.
So, it can happen.
So yes, so he was a little bit on the crispy side. Now you're a teacher. You work in politics. You got all kinds of all kinds of stuff going on.
So I can explain. So basically, I was an English and political science double major when I was in college. So I guess now my life is kind of going in both of those directions at the same time. And I'm just it's kind of like a competition to see which I get further in, and whichever one wins out is the career I end up following. or maybe I'll just end up having two careers and constantly being busy and hating myself. But it's cool. But yeah, so I went to, like I said, I came down to Palm Beach County to do AmeriCorps, which is basically like a volunteer organ. It's a federal program that helps organizations across the country, like 501c3s. It helps provide them with extra hands on deck, effectively.
Okay.
And so what I did was I got a part of the Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County, and they specifically serve all kinds of reading in English and language writing programs throughout the county, which is like everything you can think of. They have programs that help like homeless children, and they go right to the homeless shelters and work with the kids. They have programs. There was programs that were at schools, which is what I ended up in. There was programs in different, just all different kinds of organizations that needed help. There was lots of stuff for, especially out in Belle Glade, helping people with learning how to read, like adult learners who have been here for a while because either they were migrants or they were brought over for work or whatever it was. And they needed to brush up on their reading skills and their English skills. So I had some friends who were in that too. But I ended up going with a school that serves primarily students who are from underprivileged families. Majority of our students their families are immigrants, or they came over here in the last generation or two. And so basically I started out as an AmeriCorps tutor. I would tutor seniors, trying to help them graduate. I was working with the most at-risk seniors who basically were like on the edge of not graduating. And I don't know how the requirements work in Texas or anything, but in Florida, they basically don't let you graduate unless you pass a certain test. They used to call it the FCAT. Scott, that's the one you took, or Charlotte, that's the one you took. Now they call it the FSA, but it's the same shit. It's a test.
I was actually my generation was the first generation to have to. That was the
standardized testing
for standardized testing, and that goes all the way back to like 1980 something.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So we were the first. We were the first rounds of students that if you didn't pass that test, you didn't graduate.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's really something. It's really something, and there's so many different like things that we can pinpoint on what is wrong with standardized testing, and it's like the original benefits, the original implied benefits, we don't even think about anymore because there's so many issues with it that we've just sort of been like constantly building upon it to try to fix the original problems instead of being like, hey, maybe we need to like look at this entire system and build something new because clearly from the ground up, this has been a problem. But yeah, it's a mess, but we do it anyway because kids need to get their degrees so that they can at least have a fighting chance. And that's kind of what I do now. After my year of AmeriCorps, the school hired me as a full-time teacher, and I've been doing that since. And still working with seniors. They're my primary area, but I like them the best, to be honest. When I was in college, I was a counselor, like a camp counselor in my super white privileged town in Pittsford, New York. And those kids, I had 5 through 7 year olds. And after doing that for 4 years, I don't think I could ever work in a room of 5-year-olds ever again. So I went to the exact opposite, which is high schoolers. So, yeah.
We share something slightly in common. I was also an English major in college, except I dropped out of college because I just realized that college wasn't for me. Although I did like being an English major, but I did not like college that much.
What was your favorite book? What was your favorite book you read when you were in college?
Oh my goodness. Amazingly enough, this might sound a little weird. I actually enjoyed sci-fi a lot. And
okay.
I had an interest in maybe writing sci-fi, maybe later on. When I was a major, I was actually thinking about teaching
Okay.
for a little bit.
Nice.
And of course, I just got very disillusioned when it came to college life and everything else. So I'm like, I'd just rather be out in the world and do my thing. I studied a lot of poetry in college as well. I studied English poetry a lot.
Nice. That was one of my focuses, actually. I focused in creative writing and poetry.
Mm-hmm. And the University of Houston at the time has, I think it still does, has one of the best creative writing programs in the country. So I got accepted, but like I said, I just got very disillusioned with college and said, you know what, I'll go back in a couple of years and see how I'm going to get out in the world and see how I feel and blah, 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 blah. That was a long, 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 long time ago. And I'm actually, it's a part of me is like, you know what, let's go ahead and maybe finish out the degree. But if I do it now, I feel like I'm doing it just because I want to finish out the degree. I'm not looking to
do anything with it.
At this time. I just want to finish out the degree and say that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with going to college or taking classes specifically because you enjoy it. I think that we sort of in America, especially, we have this idea that like you have to go to college to get a specific job and a career, and if you don't have that like 10-year plan of how you're going to be making $1 million by the end of it, then you're crazy for even going in the first place. And I think that's kind of a problem. I think we need to let creative people explore their creativity. I don't think we do that enough.
And I think at the time, like I said, when I went to college in 91, 92, and the big emphasis was getting your business degree. It was all about getting a business degree. So
of course,
I was like the creative, especially in Texas, being creative in Texas is actually kind of hard.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants you to pursue something in business, especially in engineering, oil and gas, that kind of stuff. So that's the big thing. That's the big thing here. So being creative, it's mostly an underground scene. Austin is the creative center of Texas, but Houston actually has a fairly nice and a decent underground art scene that a lot of people don't know about, and I think a lot of Houstonians sometimes keep it that way.
I have like places that they have like art and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff here. I think there's like
that sounds cool.
Garden that's like full of like, statues.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff and graffiti.
But it's a very protective community when it comes to artists here. So yeah, they don't like to branch out that much, I think. But and I can see that in the drag scene, everything from the drag scene to the music scene to everything else, to the art scene in Houston. It's very protective.
It's like inclusive of themselves.
Yeah, it's
like me as a newcomer being in that part, everyone's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Whereas Austin loves outside interference, I don't think Houston likes it that much. I don't think Houston artists like it that much.
No, I can see that.
They're probably sounds like they're less experimental, maybe less open to.
I think. There is some experimentation that happens, but I think because
like, the way that I look at it is like Houston has like it's a big city, but it has small city vibes. So that's why, So I don't know, like even just like being up here and doing drag, everybody thinks I'm like this really big person. I'm like, no, I'm just from a city. Like we do big things, and as opposed to you guys that just like tiptoe around, I'm like I'm over here like fucking being gross and disgusting and looking pretty at the same time.
I kind of felt like Miami was like a big city, but the energy that people had was kind of like small town and very closed off.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's similar at all.
The thing that I got from Miami was like, in Miami, in order to stand out, you have to come in a look.
You have to what?
Come in a look, like look extravagant, as opposed to like West Palm where everybody wears the same clothes every week. No quote unquote people.
You can be a repeat offender, and it's fine in West Palm. Can't do that so much in Miami.
No, in Miami, like in order for you to get bookings, you just have to look extravagant, and that's how it is here too. Well,
Florida is a big pageant state. Aren't pageants huge in Florida?
That's like North Florida.
Yeah, pageants are huge in
Orlando.
Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas is Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the pageant scene in Dallas is unbelievable. very competitive. Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
I feel like they don't have a really big alternative scene in Houston, but the people that are
No.
part of the alternative scene, like they know what they're doing. Like, cause like I'm already part of the alternative scene. I'm just like, I'm not really that alternative. I'm just like different. I'm not from Houston.
Speaking of which, did I hear correct? Let's talk a little bit about you guys and your past and how you guys met. David. Did we hear that you have some experience in the drag community, that kind of thing?
No, he just like
Yeah, I mean, I never did drag per se. But I was around, and when I was first starting out in West Palm, when I first came down, I was like not sure what was going on. So I sort of went to some different bars and things, and I came across Charlotte Shotgun, and I was just like in awe. I remember the first time we met. You were actually not in drag, but you were dressed in like this giant black cloak, and you had like this eye makeup. There was just like a little bit of shadow or something, but I was like sure you were a vampire. I was just like, this man. I was like, this woman, this man, this non-binary person is just like an alien, and I love it. And you.
I invited me to go drinking, and then I went out, and then I was like, ugh. I'm like not wearing appropriate clothes, and then I went to the back of Roosters and I grabbed this like sweater that somebody left, but it was like a giant, like it was like a blazer, but it was like to the floor. It was so stupid.
You were being you, and it was great. And I remember you came up to me and you were like, "Can you help me out with a show or something?" And I was like, "Yes." You look so cool, and I was like, "For sure, I want to be a part of this." So we became really close through that, and just like over time, we just kept hanging out and doing stuff together. We'd go like to Miami or to Fort Lauderdale on the weekends together for shows and stuff, and we'd have a blast. We'd meet like crazy ass people. There was a time I grinded on Violet Chachki because we met.
Oh yeah, we got invited to like a private party, and then
it was crazy. It was in Twist. The bar was Twist, right?
It was in Twist, but then the other private party, the one where do you remember the people that were throwing fire?
Yes. That was when we met Aquaria.
Yes, that's when we met Aquaria. We were meeting
the same night.
I think so. I don't remember.
The same night. That was the same night. We went out. We went to the beautiful we had to wait in like this big line with like a red velvet.
It was a Susan Barch party.
A Susan Barch party.
Yeah, it was a Susan Barch party.
Those are legendary parties.
Yeah, and
I don't even know how we got in, but we get in.
How we got in either.
But we get in. We get in, and Aquaria's there, and she comes up to us, and we start chatting, and she buys us drinks. We all did shots together, and then we followed her to Twist, or maybe we went to Twist later, but she was also there, and she happened to be there with Violet Chachki. And so I just like sort of snuck myself into their little, like they had like this little separate place. Yeah. And I was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" It was great.
Now, how long ago was this? Because she won her season. Was this after she won her season, or?
No, I told David it was literally the week before she got announced on Drag Race.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, I was like to him, she's gonna be on Drag Race. She's gonna be at Drag Race. She's like, no. I'm like, she's gonna be on Drag Race. Get to know her.
They'd already filmed probably months ago, but
it was done. They just
nobody knew that she'd won, obviously, because they hadn't done the finale yet. So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool experience.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say this. I watched that season. She ruled that entire season.
Oh, she's just sickening.
Every time I loved waiting for Runway, because every time she walked down that runway, I'm like, what is Violet gonna do?
Violet and
but when she did oh my God, when she did the sash that blew everybody off, when she tucked
oh my God,
that ultimate, yes,
like the reveal, the double,
yes, where she's walking down the runway with the oxygen mask and
like the corset thing,
the corset. Oh my God,
holy crud!
I hit the floor.
Tony and I were actually just rewatching season 7. He was in awe.
And I knew I was going to be in awe the minute that the first runway when she came and did that big reveal, and she was the bitch who started the reveals, by the way. Nobody seems to understand. She started the reveals, because when she walked down that in the black thing, and then it turned into the tartan thing, and then it was like, everybody's like, oh my God. And I'm seeing, I think that was that Carson Kressley? I think that was one of Carson Kressley's.
Yep, it was Carson.
First times on the show, yeah.
Alaska was there too.
Yeah,
He could have fallen out of his seat. He was this close to falling out of his seat.
Yes, he could have fallen out of his seat. Yes, I think Alaska was there, but he was he doing this little number, and I'm like, holy shit, this bitch is gonna rock. First of all, I had to say this. I didn't think she had any personality to begin with, but she could. But every time she came down the runway, and she proved herself.
They just released a new cast for the next season.
Yeah, season 13. Yeah, I saw some of the cast members on Twitter.
I spilled a drink on Candy Muse one time.
Oh, I saw her.
What?
It was in California. She left her drink next to it, and I walked by, and it like touched my arm, and it flipped over, and it spilled on her outfit. And she's like, "You need to get me another one." I was like, "Okay." Then I just left. She's like, "I don't drink that cheap vodka." I'm like, "Oh, whatever, bitch." You look like fucking George Washington.
So
wait, when did they announce the season 13 queens? I did not see this
Today.
I'm literally Googling it right now.
actually,
Oh my God!
you can go to Twitter, because it popped up on my Twitter feed, and I'm like, they were doing one queen at a time every time I was scrolling down.
Oh wow.
So yes,
They have
Wait, Candy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know Candy Muse.
Ah!
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is so exciting.
And then they have a trans.
Wow.
They have a trans man on the cast, so they have a first trans person.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Who is this?
I don't know their name.
Gottmik.
Yeah, Gottmik.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I haven't. Yeah, I didn't go all the way down because I was busy getting ready for the show.
I heard that someone from Miami was going to be on there. Morphine Love. But I guess she was just really sick.
I think I only got through the first 5 queens. I was busy getting ready for the show, so I only saw the first 5 queens, I think. I didn't get to see the rest. So
I knew Candy Muse was going to do it because one of her friends...
I think Candy Muse was one of the first people I saw on Twitter.
Yeah. I saw that they accidentally released a promo, and it was going around since like yesterday.
So,
Oh boy.
So I think that's what
Candy Muse is from Aja's group, right?
Not anymore.
From her family?
But originally,
Not anymore?
Yeah, she took the Aja part out. I think Aja's just crazy as fuck.
I love her though. Or them. I think
I
they use they them.
okay. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We need to take a little bit of a commercial break, and we're going to be right back. We're back. We are back. We had to, well, Charlotte and I, we had to take a quick wine break. I don't know what David is doing on the other end. And what's going on in the background, David? I feel like I hear some talking.
Yeah, I'm closing the door right now.
Which we don't.
My partner.
Which, I mean, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. He knows. Well, he's doing his thing. So that might be. I had to interview someone else who also had a partner who had to be in the background, and you can see him walking back and forth.
Oh my God! When we interviewed Neon Lights.
Yes, and everything else for Neon Lights, and which I'm hoping to see their new anime coming out soon. They
go live, and I see their followers.
Yes, exactly.
Lot, so I think they're getting close.
For those of you out there who don't know David Fry, this is someone from Houston who is trying to put together a Japanese style anime for the LGBTQ community. He's been working on it for several months, and he's going to debut it here on YouTube soon. So,
cool.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to reach out to him again. We're going to have him back on the show so he can give us details on
about everything.
This and that, everything that's going on, and maybe get some of his voice actors on, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're going to reach out to him shortly. And I want to send a shout out also to DJ Kirsten. Am I getting it right? Kirsten.
It's a Norwegian DJ.
Our Norwegian gay rapper.
Yeah, gay rapper.
Yes.
He's not a DJ. Why do we call him DJ?
Because every time I go on his,
he's like, I'm not a DJ.
I know, but every time I go on his Instagram page, it says DJ Kirsten. Kirsten.
Is that just like a cute nickname? Calls himself DJ.
No. I guess it's a cute
I don't
name.
think it says DJ.
I thought it did. Maybe I'm wrong. It does say Kirsten at least. Kirsten.
You should call me DJ. I'm DJ Zatyko.
No.
Oh,
I like it.
No, I don't want to piss him off because he's too sexy to piss off.
He's a really cool guy.
Oh my goodness.
He's a really cool guy, and we had a.
Yeah, he released some merch today too.
Did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just saw it earlier.
So go to his Instagram page and look for his merch because he is
It's Big Daddy Kirsten. That's
Big Daddy Kirsten. It's Big Daddy Kirsten, and I gotta say, if you look for him on YouTube, his rap videos are amazing. You can hear them in Norwegian and you can hear them in English. And it is, yes, his raps are amazing. He's a legitimate rapper.
Yeah, he is.
He's a legitimate rapper.
He's worked with like Big Dipper.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care what nobody says. I mean, this young hot gay rapper he's the shit. And I think that he has a future, especially if he wants to cross the shores into America and really put his tracks down. I'm not not big in the hip hop and rap, but I was impressed. When I hear people that I'm impressed with, I'm like, this he's got a future. I think he's really going to do well. So, but we're gonna get into a little bit of my playing field. We're gonna talk about politics a little bit because I like.
Oh, look at that smile!
Love that.
I like talking about politics. So we're gonna get into a few things that have been in the news lately.
Love a deep dive.
Okay, we all know that Trump is still pursuing December 15th. December 14th. All the people from the Electoral College will put in their thing and call it a day and say that Biden won the election. There are some Republicans out there that are still trying to stop this process. What are your thoughts? I know. Let's talk about the fact that you also do work with the Democratic Party in Florida. Let's talk about a little bit about that before we get into all that other stuff, because I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So basically, around about a year and a half ago, I would say, Tony and I went to a conference for an LGBTQ plus Florida Democrat organization. And we basically were both like kind of on the fence about what to do. We wanted to be politically engaged. We knew that Andrew Gillum was running for governor coming soon. I'm sorry, my mistake. This was about a year after that, like 9 months after Andrew Gillum lost. And that was pretty heartbreaking. Seeing him lose to a racist Ron DeSantis, who is also a fascist. So that's great, but we can talk about that later. Our fascist governor. But no, so basically Tony and I were like looking at things to do over the summer, and we saw this organization was having a conference in Tampa. So we took a road trip across the state to Tampa. And of course, across the state means very different things in Florida than it does to you guys. For you across the state's a lot more. But for us, we had a 3.5, 4 hour drive, and we met all these folks who were deeply involved.
I'm sorry. Across the state is 3 to 4 hours. Across the state for us, we need a full day. We need to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, I read the other day that El Paso is closer to Los Angeles than it is to the other side of Texas.
It is.
It actually it's insane.
Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
But yeah, so basically we went to this conference in Tampa, and we got we met with some of the other Palm Beach Democratic LGBTQ activists, and from there we started going to meetings. And pretty early on, we met with the president and the vice president of our little Palm Beach County chapter, and they were like, we really want some fresh blood in the organization. We really need younger people who are excited and engaged with politics and want to help improve the party and make it look more like the actual people of our area and of Florida. And they asked us to take on some leadership roles, so that's what we did. So Tony and I, we basically were just like, I don't know, we don't really have like a ton of experience in the party itself. We both actually worked on campaigns before. When I was up in New York, I helped out on a city council campaign. I interned with my congresswoman when I was in college, and then I worked on her. I worked on her campaign when I was in college as well. But I've never really done any like specifically within the party. But it actually has turned out to be a really wild experience, but eye-opening. Just because I've come to realize that throughout the country, the Democratic Party and honestly political parties in general, we don't really have a good perspective necessarily on what party really looks like. We talk a lot about like the voters of parties and like what people are voting on, and then we talk a lot about like elected officials. And the piece that is very often missing is the party infrastructure itself. The people who are making the decisions behind the scenes, the people who are setting the agendas, the people who are informing the elected officials, and the people who want to run what they should be campaigning on and where they should be going and what they should be doing. Those people are all kind of hidden behind the voters and behind the elected officials themselves. And party leadership really, really, really influences how the party ends up functioning, you know, how we end up doing in elections. Because if there's some big blue wave going on and the party in that state or even in that town or in that county is not very good, if they don't have good infrastructure or if they haven't worked on actually like building up their membership and having people who are actively involved at party events and raising money for the Democratic Party, then it often will go nowhere. You know, the party is only as strong as its membership. And if there's no outreach, if the party isn't constantly working on trying to bring in new people and trying to talk to voters or talk to not just voters, talk to anybody in America and find out what do they need, what do they want, how do we do things that will make them want to be engaged, then they're not going to care about our party and it's going to become obsolete. So that is really what my focus has shifted to within the party. So it's all about improving outreach and actually listening to people and being like, what do you need? What policies would benefit you, you know? And how can we make you excited about voting for Democrats, and not just voting for Democrats, but like doing things with Democrats, doing events that will make that will support what we care about. So it's a process, but I'm glad that I got involved with it. And
you guys,
yeah,
like fast forwarding a little bit, but you guys, well, your partner got to open up a ceremony for the vice president, and I thought that was super. Like, I was so happy.
That's a whole thing. I could dive into that.
You know,
That's pretty wild.
Can we please dive?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's your.
I was crying.
Oh, it's a story.
Hey, you're the squirrel trying to get in that. Do it. Just tell us all about it because we want to know.
Yeah. So basically, Tony. Actually, it starts off on an unpleasant note. Tony, about at the end of October, early November, started having some pretty bad stomach pains, and he's like I was up until like 2-3 years ago, poor college student. He had worked for a law firm for a while, or not a while actually. He was there for about 7-8 months, and he decided after working there that he wanted to go back to school and really get his degree and everything, and start building his political career.
I remember that.
And what happened though was that he lost his insurance when he left, so he didn't end up getting new insurance because the whole process is really, really complicated in our country, as you guys might know.
Especially Florida.
Yeah. Well,
I lost when I got laid off from work. By the way, I work in the service industry, and I've been a bartender, a waiter, all kinds of stuff. And I love the fact that I had the freedom to be able to move around and do the stuff that I can move to different places or what have you. And all I have to say is I have bartending skills, and I could get a job literally anywhere.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I finally found a job here in town that
Mm-hmm.
actually had health insurance. One of the few restaurants in Houston.
That's surprising, honestly. It's surprising.
Offered health and company paid.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the best health insurance, but it was health insurance.
Right, and that difference can be in an emergency situation.
Yes.
That can end up being the difference between being like thousands of dollars in debt or being like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt or millions of dollars in debt, like life altering, life ruining, debt ruining situations. So basically, Tony went to the hospital, and luckily, kind of luckily, he signed up real fast. He went online and found some like cheap insurance program, the first thing that he could find basically when he got there, because they scanned his stomach and found out that his appendix was about to burst. So they kept him in the hospital for a couple days and ended up removing it. But there was all kinds of other side effects that had happened. And I don't want to delve too in depth to what happened, but basically it was worse than just his appendix bursting. He walked away from the hospital, stumbled away from the hospital after like four weeks there, which is not normal for an appendectomy. But anyway, the day that we leave the hospital is October 30th. And I go and pick him up from the hospital, just happy to have him alive and in my presence again. I bring him home. We got some Chinese food to sort of celebrate him being back. Obviously, he couldn't eat that much because his digestive system was basically completely destroyed from the everything. Yeah. But we're sitting there about an hour and a half, 2 hours after getting home. We may or may not have indulged in certain nice little substances to make ourselves feel especially happy. And then we get a call from his the person who's in charge of his student government. And I don't think I mentioned, but he's the president of his student government at his college here in Palm Beach County. And he got elected about 6 months ago, back in June. He got elected. I don't know. Time is a construct, but whatever. He got elected. he got elected in June. Actually, right at literally a few days after he was elected, George Floyd happened, and George Floyd was murdered, and the whole Black Lives.
Yeah, George Floyd was from Houston, so
It happened in Houston?
No, he's from Houston. He's from Houston.
He's
originally from Houston. He was Minnesota.
Wisconsin. Minnesota. My bad.
Minnesota. It happened in Minnesota. And it turned out later in the investigation, what they said is that he tried to pass a $20 counterfeit bill. Yeah. Turned out later it wasn't counterfeit. So there was all this that was going on, and this and that. And I'm like, so the man got killed over a $20 bill? Regardless of whether or not it was counterfeit or not, he got killed over a $20 bill by police.
The man got killed because there are people out there who are terrified of black men and terrified of poor black men, terrified of black men who don't fit the mold of what they believe that people are supposed to look like or the way people are supposed to act. And he was killed because all of those factors came together in an ugly racist soup.
Yep,
and it set the country on fire.
But this was a soup that was going on within a police department and in so many police departments across the country, because they were taught a certain thing from the 90s that we'll talk about in a little bit. I don't want to get too much into that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that it was from policies that police had adopted that are ancient policies from the drug war and all this other stuff that in the 21st century just stopped working. They don't work. They never did work, even when they were put out there, but they don't work.
They made white people. They made rich white people feel safe. That is what they did. And rich white people thinking that they are safe puts black people at risk.
Yes, exactly.
And
even though
that is
white people are the ones who use the drugs the most.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like
When when they would do surveys on drug use from the 90s until now, white people were using drugs far more than black people were using drugs. But black people suffered the most when now that marijuana is legal in certain states. There are still far too many black people in jail or in prison because of antiquated marijuana laws. And now white people get to sell marijuana out of dispensaries and all this other stuff, but the people who went to prison for doing the same thing,
they're still in prison.
They're still in prison. So there's a lot more work to do. Yeah. When it comes
it's a tiered justice system, right? It's just like it's a tiered economic system where it's socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. It's a tiered justice system where you're either white and assumed innocent, or you're black and assumed guilty.
And I think the problem, and I like to say this, I think that especially white people who are not rich, who are part of the middle class, or who were part of the middle class, thanks to economic policies over the last 20 to 30 years, those numbers have been dropping a lot. White people in those groups are still having a hard time understanding the fact that your government really doesn't care that much about you. And they're still pushing these ideas on you because they want you to still feel protected on a certain level, so that they can take away certain benefits and certain things away from you, and they can get away with it. But they're still
100%.
They're still using antiquated ideas when it comes to race and policing and that kind of thing, because they want you to feel that we still care about you, but we don't really care about you that much. We only care about you only if you can give me some money. So, or if,
it's a mess, and we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we have,
but
and I think that like I said, I'm watching you young people. You guys are you're really doing your shit. I have not been a big fan of the Democratic Party for the last 20 years because I've watched the Republicans run roughshod over Democrats. And now Republicans have gotten to the place where they are the craziest motherfuckers on the planet.
They fully are.
They fully are. They have reached into all kinds of weird, crazy. It started with the Tea Party, which, by the way, thankfully enough, we don't have a lot of people in the Tea Party anymore. They've graduated to QAnon and all these conspiracy things that Republicans seem to be loving right now.
They do love conspiracy theories.
And it is just...
They're the party of conspiracy theories in this point.
But they have run roughshod. They've been the bullies for quite some time when it comes to Democrats. And I've been asking Democrats that you got to fight back. You got to fight back because this is getting out of hand now. And now I'm watching young people in the Democratic Party, actually, AOC, oh my God, love her. Love her. And I love her.
I think she, I think she honestly woke up she woke up our generation to some degree. I'm not saying that every millennial loves her. I'm not saying that everyone is a democratic socialist, but I think that regardless of your very specific ideology, I think she at least showed people that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter your prior experience. Anybody has the potential to be a leader and to be able to make massive change for the better. So I'm definitely hugely inspired by her. Haven't gotten to meet her yet, but there is someone else who I did get to meet who definitely is in the same vein to some degree and has inspired me. And that person was actually to connect with my story. As Tony and I are sitting at the table, enjoying our Chinese food, enjoying our luxuries of him finally being home, even though he is recovering from surgery and could barely walk. He gets a phone call from his advisor from student government who says, "How are you doing? And are you sitting down?" He goes, "Yes." Of course, we're terrified when she says this because we're like, is he about to get fired? Is something really bad about to happen? She goes, we have someone coming to our school tomorrow, and she is having a giant rally to try to motivate people. Because, like I said, this is October 30th, so we are 4 days from Election Day.
Of course.
And she says, so we have this person who's coming, and she needs someone to introduce her at this rally.
Okay.
And she says that person's name is Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. And Tony and I fall on the floor. We're just like, is this real life? I'm pretty sure Tony started crying. Of course, that wouldn't be the first time he'd cry in this story, but he started crying when she told him this. And of course, he was like, yes, I definitely want to do it. I have to do it. Of course, as we said, he could barely walk. So, and also just talking loudly, like having any elevation in his voice, he started getting out of breath. So that was a little scary. But he was like, you know what? I have to do this. I want to do this. I want to introduce Kamala Harris at this rally at my college. So he agreed, and he worked with a speechwriter overnight. I like to say I helped out a little bit. I made some bullet points to help give him some ideas of what he could talk about. I like to think of myself as kind of like his unofficial speechwriter / type editor. So anyway, we're a tag team, so it's good. But he's not to take any of the light away from him, because he's brilliant, and he's kind of like he has a kind of charisma that I don't have, but I wish I had, and he's able to sort of capture people's excitement, and people really listen to him, and I love that about him.
You know,
but
we're gonna. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I want to hear. We're gonna get to the story, but here's what I would like to have. We're gonna have you back on the show again, but I want to have you guys back on the show as a couple, because I really talk about him with such. I mean, my goodness, you are. And like I said, I'm just looking at the camera, but the smile is so wide, and everything, I mean. You know what? We're sitting here going, oh my God, why can't we find a man like that? We're like, oh my God, I want a man like that. Good Lord. Yes, we would, you know what? We would love to have, we're going to have you guys back on. I want both of you and him, because you guys, you know, this is just amazing to hear.
Really great people.
You're both really great people, but right now the song's on you. Stop. And I still want to hear the rest of it. Go for it. Finish the story, please, because I want to hear more of this.
So Kamala Harris is one of her advisors for Florida and the Southeast, I think. Her communications person reached out to Tony and helped him write the speech. And at first he was going to mostly be talking about his life and sort of his experience, his story. But I guess on the next podcast, I can have him tell you more about that. Yes. I don't want to reveal too much. But basically, we talked with the speechwriter. He talked with the speechwriter, and they built his speech, and ended up actually working in some of the stuff about his difficulties in the hospital and all that. Mm-hmm. But what happened was we go to the rally, which obviously COVID. So they were drive-in rallies, right? Mm-hmm. They set it up in this massive parking lot by Palm Beach State College. And when we get there, we were a little confused because there's a giant line of cars, but we end up going, we call the communications guy, and he's like, oh yeah, come up here. We got a special spot for you. They put a special Biden sign, like this special Biden sticker on the car window. So basically they let us like bypass all the security and stuff. We still had to get like bomb checked and everything. They still opened up the engine and all that because they want to make sure that everything's going to be safe. But it was tight. It was tight security. But they knew who we were, and everything was good on that front. So we get to the front, and the rally starts. They have a bunch of different representatives from Palm Beach County, from the area, Congress people, local state and state officials and things. And then Tony, we find out, is actually going to be the last person on stage before Kamala. Like we had thought that he was just going to be one of many speakers. We find out he is actually going to be the final introducer of Kamala Harris before Kamala comes on.
Oh, wow.
So we were like, oh my God. End up getting him up there. I had to kind of walk him because he was struggling, as I said, fresh out of his surgery and still very, very early in recovery. There's like two speakers before us, and one of the security guys, one of the people who's directing the whole thing, this is outside, mind you. He's like, come with me. He like pulls Tony aside, and I'm like, am I allowed to come with you? And they're like, oh yeah, come. So I come, but I was a couple steps away because Tony had already, one guy had already started pulling him up towards the school to go inside for a sec. And I was a little ways away because I had stopped because they had told me at first, oh, no, you can't come, but they were like, you can. So as I'm walking to catch up with them, there's another security guy with me. And I was like, is he going to go meet Kamala? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, don't tell him. Let's keep it a secret. So we go inside, and I'm still a couple yards behind Tony. So he goes around the bend. There's like a hallway, and then it turns around, and I'm a little bit a ways behind. And then as I catch up, I find Tony around the corner on a chair, or sitting in a chair. It looks like he's like kind of like fallen into the chair, and he is sobbing. And Kamala Harris is right there. Like, I could tell she like wanted to put her hand on him to like comfort him, but obviously COVID, so she couldn't. But she was just like, no, honey, it's going to be okay. Like, we're in this together. We've got this. And he's just like, I don't know if I can do it. It's just a lot. And I jump in, and I'm like, he's going to be fine. We can do this. And Kamala like looks at me like, who the heck is this random white dude jumping in? And I'm like, I'm the partner. I'm with him. And she's like, oh, good. Okay. She's like, somebody get him some water. And she was just so kind and gracious. And Tony's just kind of like in a state of awe. And I think just it was a lot. And then 10 minutes later, he's up on that stage. He gives a banging speech. He did amazing. You guys can watch the video. It's online. It's got like 30,000.
Yeah, I saw you both walk up. I'm like, oh, those are my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you, not just us, tell everybody where they can watch that. I realize it got 30,000, but let's get some more. Tell us where we can
Oh, absolutely. It's up on Twitter. It's on Facebook too, but the Twitter was actually where it got the most views.
Is it on YouTube as well? Can we find it on YouTube?
I think it's on YouTube also. I can send a link to you guys after if you want to see it on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he gave his awesome speech, and I was sort of off to the side. There's a moment actually in the video that I love that people kind of made fun of at first. It was funny. I kind of tried to give him a final boost before he got up to the podium itself. So we walked around the corner. There was like a little walkway to get up onto the stage. It was like a raised, like a platform sort of going instead of stairs. And at the end, as he's about to go onto the podium, I gave him a little like, I don't want to say push. It wasn't supposed to be a push. It was supposed to be like yeah, you got this. But on camera, it totally looked like I just like freaking pushed him on the stage. But yeah, no, he gave his speech, and then on comes Kamala, and she when she came on, she goes, just want to let's everybody hear it for Raphael. Thank you, Raphael. That was amazing. And just so everybody knows, Tony, his nickname is Tony. So I when I refer to him, I'm calling him Tony because that's just like his friends and family call him Tony, but his proper legal name is Raphael. But so she goes, thank you so much, Raphael. Thank you for that amazing speech. And she goes, this is what leadership looks like. This is our youth leading the way. And it was pretty incredible. And we both slept really well that night.
I could have been, I don't mean to sound like this, but I realized with all the stuff that was happening, he had been sick for a little bit. Here he was. He had met Kamala. He gave an incredible speech. You guys get home. You relax and you lay it in bed. I would think, honestly, that would be like the hottest night of lovemaking that you could possibly imagine. I can imagine.
Well,
I can imagine.
I wish.
I can imagine.
I wish.
Now I realize that.
But he was.
I realized that he
cut
was
open.
He was tired. He had been cut open. He had gone
His
through
body.
all kinds
His body was
body.
hardly functioning.
Even if it wasn't, and when I say love making, even if it wasn't like the physical, I would have looked at him and went, God damn it, I can't wait till you feel better.
Yep. Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
Wait till you get I love look at you. You did all this impressive stuff. I was with you. You survived everything. When you feel better, I'm gonna do stuff to you. I know.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Every now, every now and then, we have to inject. We can get really serious here, but I feel like we have to inject a little bit of, a little bit of humor, a little bit of, because that would be me. Honestly, that would be me. My man got up there and impressed the entire world. He impressed the future vice president of the United States. He got out of the hospital literally days
24 hours.
24 hours
less than 24 hours before he went on stage.
24 hours before he was exhausted, and he laid in bed, and all I would do was look at him all night long and go, I can't wait. What's going to happen when you feel better? I'm going to tackle you as soon as you get home when you feel better, and I'm going to do stuff to you. I'm going to do all kinds of stuff to you. Because, baby, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. So we're going to take one more break. We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to finish out the show.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw some questions at you real quick in the last half.
Sure.
And to make it really quick, because now that you're basically into politics, I've wanted to ask these questions for quite some time, and I want to, especially on the Democratic side, and I'm looking to find out some answers that I think that you might be able to provide for the future of the party. So let's all take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. So we're going to do this in rapid fire succession.
Awesome.
Okay, first question.
Yes.
Stacey Abrams, did she win Georgia for Biden?
I think that she was a very large percentage of why Biden won Georgia. Yes. I think strategy-wise, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's connected with the right people in Georgia on the grassroots. She's bringing out people who historically have lost some effort and some energy in the party, who have lost faith in the party. And that's honestly what she is doing is absolutely a model for what we should be doing in every single state that is currently a red state. Her model is the model for what we should be doing. And you'll see, or what I've seen is that already state parties and county parties across the country are basically saying exactly that. We need to do what Stacey's doing. We had elections in Palm Beach County's Democratic Executive Committee last night, which are basically the people who are in charge of the Palm Beach County Party. And they're basically every single person who won was campaigning on a platform of we need to reach into organizing minority communities and getting towards the heart of the problems in those whose lives are the most difficult right now. And we need to find those people, and we need to communicate with them exactly how we are going to help improve the things that they're dealing with and how we are going to find solutions. And that is Stacey Abrams' model, and she's doing it, and that's what we need to be doing as well.
Okay. Can the Democrats pull off 2 Senate races in Georgia in the runoffs?
You still there?
Can you hear me? Did I lose you? I'm sorry. Did we lose each other?
It says something on the bottom. Hi.
Your microphone is not.
You guys still there? I lost you for a second.
Okay, hold on.
Hi. you there? David.
Are you there? Can you hear us? No? Okay. What's going on? Unmute.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. We can hear you. We can hear you. Hi. We can hear you.
I don't think
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes. Yes, we can hear. Uh-oh.
I can't hear you. No.
No.
I don't know what's going.
Hold on. Okay. Stop. Okay. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? No.
No. Okay.
Hi. That was weird that it did that.
Okay. I guess. Okay, I think we lost him, and we were going to have to get back to David later on that. So we're just going to tell David that thank you for being on the show. We're just going to have to get back to him later. I'm sorry, folks, but I think that we lost each other. I think that Zoom probably shut us out. I think we had been talking long enough as far as Zoom is concerned. So I think we lost him. So we're gonna just end this conversation by saying that we had a great time with David.
That was a great time.
It was a great time. We didn't.
Look at his face up there.
I know. I know. See his face. Hey, if you can you call him on the phone? Maybe we can get a little word in. I can hook him up real quick to the. Call him on the phone and see if we can get him back on the phone here. I think I might be able to still hook him up, and then you can hook it up to this.
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We were doing a Zoom call, and we lost him for a bit. So we're trying to see if we can get him back on the air. So if you hear a little bit of a silence, we apologize for that. But, yeah, we're just trying to see if we can get him back on the air. We had a really good time. I really wanted him to answer at least one more question before let's see if we can get it back.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, we lost you on Zoom, but
it's okay.
But we're picking you back up on the phone. Like I said, I know time is short, so I'm just going to get right into it.
Yeah, no worries.
Do you think the Democrats could pull off a victory in both houses? In the Senate races in Georgia.
I think that the odds are not necessarily in our favor, but I don't think that means that it can't happen. Mm-hmm. Personally, I hate guessing, and I hate because there's not enough polling right now to really tell us what's happening. And polls are so hard right now anyway, especially in a state that has such a big urban-rural divide like Georgia. You're never going to get a very good image via polls because the rural people don't do it anymore. They've just that's one of the reasons why polling is so bad in general right now, because for the most part, rural folks have kind of opted out of polling because they think the media is fake and they associate polling with the media, even though polling is private companies, usually not the media, but whatever, different conversation. But I think that there is a chance. I kind of think that Raphael Warnock might actually have a better chance than John Ossoff, but just looking at the numbers from their main elections before the runoff, like back in November, but we will see. That's all I can say.
Do you think will we have a hard time getting Black and Latino voters back out for the runoffs?
I think that I don't know if the party will be able to respond to the mistakes that were made in 2020. I don't know if they'll be able to respond to those mistakes and correct their messaging fast enough for it to make a huge difference. Mm-hmm. However, if the coalition that won the sliver that Biden won in Georgia comes out in the same way that they did, then there's a very big possibility we can win.
Okay. All right. I think that, and what do you see as the future of the Democratic Party as far as you're concerned?
Who or what issues?
We're talking about how, well, with, like I said, with Republicans we have a record number of LGBTQ in the House of Representatives, the most that we've seen in years. We've had several states where we had someone Muslim and non-binary be voted into Oklahoma. We've seen some transgendered people win offices in several states. We've seen. What do you see as a future of the Democratic Party as far as inclusion is concerned?
I think that we are building and we are improving. Kind of like I was saying earlier, I think that just from going off of the Palm Beach County elections that I just witnessed, our county level party, they have been. The majority of the people on our board are now people of color, and it's not just it's not older people. It's a mix. There's young people, there's middle-aged people, there's older people, and I think that's really where the party will succeed most, is sort of trying to demonstrate ourselves as the party that represents anybody. That we want to have anyone who is in need, anyone whose people have been marginalized or have been let go by the powers that be throughout American history, and that includes working class white people. I think that a lot of times we have this separation sort of between diversity, and we forget that diversity of economic status is important too. Yeah, exactly. And if we don't have people who are working class, or if we don't have poor people, truly poor people, and we're not fighting for their best interests, then we're screwed. And we won't be seen as a party that's actually trying to accomplish anything other than other than treading water, and just continuing to be the same sort of establishment-y, having the niceties, being all polite and kind and stuff. We can't be that party anymore. And it's kind of like you were saying, we have to fight back. We have to be as aggressive towards the Republican Party as they are towards the Democratic Party. They call us socialists. We need to, at the same time as fighting back against them, we need to advocate for clear policy. We need to say, you can call us socialists all you want, but we have a plan for healthcare and you don't. You can call us socialists all you want, but we want to fix our criminal justice problems in this country and have real reforms that are going to actually maybe have Black communities be less overly policed to the insane degree that they are today. And we're going to work towards ending mass incarceration and building a country that sees justice as something that should be something that we're all working towards, and not just punishing people and hurting people for the things they did wrong. We should be trying to help people so that they never have to make the mistakes that lead them to to have to go through that system in the first place. And I think all of that is going to take work. But I think the more that the Democratic Party focuses on bringing more different groups together, and talks about real, actual policy, and not just flirting with the concepts, not just using the nice words, not just saying, not just saying Black Lives Matter, but legislating on Black Lives Matter. Not just saying everyone deserves health care, but actually legislating on giving everyone health care. That's what I believe that we need to do.
One last question, and then when you finish answering the question, I want you to give all your social medias and all the stuff that people can reach you at and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So one last question. When it comes to the media, do you think that the media put too much emphasis on Latino voters when it came to this election and not enough emphasis on the fact that 55% of white women voted for Trump?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's especially a problem in Florida right now, but I think Texas is going through the same problem where there's a lot of blame being put on communities of color, especially Latinx communities, incorrectly. Because why would you blame the people who chose not to vote for you, who didn't vote, or who did vote for you the last time? You need to be blaming yourselves for not targeting them in a proper way that's going to actually bring them to the table and make them excited to vote for you. Clearly your messaging was off if you can't get those people back. If you lost them, then you're not selling a product to them that they want. So adjust the product. Okay. That's how marketing works. Exactly. And that's how the party has to work.
Exactly. But like I said, do you think that the media focused more on unfairly focused on Latino voters or Latinx voters over white women? Because I feel like that when we really talk about it, we hear more about why the Latino community voted for Trump than we hear about why white women. And by the way, those numbers went up from 51% in the first election to 55%. 55% of the white female population that voted for Trump.
I think the media had a big role to play in it. I think, as usual, they not to say that the media doesn't serve an important role, because they obviously do. We need media to explore all the options and think about things fully and as unbiased as possible. But I think that from the party perspective, we need to work towards seeing what we can fix and not so much on who to blame. We need to look inward, and we need to look inward, reflect, and then reach outwardly, and reach out to those communities that haven't, that we lost, and say, these people didn't vote for us because we weren't giving them what they wanted. We weren't bringing them to the table in a way that the other side did. All right. And even if their tool was fear, which it was, even if their tool was scapegoating and bigotry, then we need to find what's going to work better than that. We have to combat bigotry, and that's a hard battle to fight, but it's one that we have to save our country.
Okay. Well, give us everything we need to give my audience everything they need to know about you. Social medias, if they want to reach out to now, not looking for trolls, not looking for haters.
True.
But I'm sure that you know how to handle that, so that's not a big issue. But when it comes to people who might want to reach out to you and discuss more things with you, how would they reach out to you?
So on Facebook, it's my first and last name, David Zatyko. That's usually the best place. But for Twitter, I would say go to LGBTQ Dems PBC. That is our caucus's Twitter. And that's usually where most of our political work is going to be going, as well as our LGBTQ Democratic Caucus of Palm Beach County. We have a Facebook page where we post about what we're doing as well. And those are the main hubs of information. And if you want to reach out to me, please, I'm always open to talk and chat and see what we can do together.
Well, thank you, David, for being on here with us. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and we're gonna have you on again. Hopefully with your partner.
We'd love that.
I'm sorry, it's when I say partner, but are we also talking husband here, or?
No,
I'm working on that, or
it's
Is it still a work in progress?
No, he's not in the room. I have my AirPod in anyway, but no, yeah, we've only been dating for almost 2 years, so
2 years?
we're not in a we're not in any kind of marriage position at this moment, but we'll see what happens someday.
I wanted to know what, like I said, I'm respecting the relationship. I respect all relationships in whatever form they want to be. But I just wanted to make sure that I didn't say like anything that would be inappropriate, like like husband or what have you, or
Nah.
whatever you want to. As long as you guys are happy and doing your thing, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just want it to be appropriate here because you need to be appropriate in this day and age.
No worries. No, honestly, I think there's an overemphasis on some of that sometimes. Like Tony and I go by, like we have some friends, some older folks in our LGBTQ caucus who think that we're married, and we don't really bother to correct them when they call us husbands because it's just like, yeah, it's fine, they're being nice.
You know what? You have to look at it from this way. In our community, especially with older folks, because we didn't have marriage equality.
Right.
If you had been with someone for quite some time, then you were that was your husband. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you didn't officially make it official or that kind of. So we're used to saying that kind of thing because, like I said, we didn't have marriage equality. So anybody who had been together for a long period of time, we just automatically said that's your husband.
We're definitely queer married.
Exactly. So that's something that we're used to. So don't get too worried about that. It's just something that we're used to doing. Because like I said, we didn't, marriage equality didn't happen until 2015. And before that, any couple that had been together longer than a year, I'd say longer than a year, that's what we did. So don't be too hard on them.
I love that. I think that's beautiful.
Okay. So we're going to wrap it up. I know I have a habit of keeping people on too long. You just have to say, "Goddamn bitch, I got to go." Just say that.
God damn bitch, I gotta go.
Okay, there we go. God, that's all you had to say. You could have said that 5 minutes ago. We would have been done.
My bad.
Okay. All right, we're out. We're going to let you go.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for being on the show.
Of course.
All right. Okay, so that was David. Now pronounce his last name again.
Zatyko.
David Zatyko.
Yeah.
He was on the show. We had a great time with him. If you have any questions, comments, or anything else, y'all come see us on our website, thatlittlegaytalkshow.com. Oh, I'm sorry, not thatlittlegaytalkshow.com. That website has been taken by somebody else. Thatlittlegaytalks.com. Thatlittlegaytalks.com. Or just come to our any of our pages, or our Instagram, or Twitter, and our Facebook page. Look us up, ask us any questions or what have you. We'll get them over to David if we need to. We're going to end the show with a couple of things because Charlotte has some shows coming up she needs to talk about. So go on ahead, Charlotte.
Yeah. So coming up the 4th, hold on, I think it's the 15th at the Eagle. We're going to have like a returning show. Mm-hmm. It's hosted by Periwinkle, which is one of the bartenders named Cairo here at the Eagle. Mm-hmm. So that's on the Tuesday the 15th. And the 16th, I'm going to be at Ripcords, and I'm going to be doing Dragos Punk. Mm-hmm. And it's like a bearded queen cast. So that's going to be super fun. It's mm-hmm. super different. I'm excited. Looking mm-hmm. forward to it. Mm-hmm.
And who's going to be your partner? Are you going to just be leading the show on your own?
That's somebody else's show that I'm joining.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's hosted by Rose and mm-hmm. Damien, and then Blackberry's going to be in it, Miss Mikey, mm-hmm. and one other person. Mm-hmm.
And you're still doing your monthly show.
Yep, and that's on the 24th.
That's on the 24th? Yeah. Okay. Christmas and that's still with
Frankie Fraud.
Frankie Fraud.
Yeah.
That should be fun.
Yeah, we're excited. We're planning things out. Well, he's mm-hmm. he just started a few new jobs, so mm-hmm. we're trying to figure out something.
You young people, y'all got 4, 5, 6 jobs going on. Y'all out here making shit happen in the world. Mm-hmm. Y'all got so many jobs going on, and it's ridiculous. Take a break. Never. Go to a party. Relax. Oh, wait, we still party. We still party into our schedule. Yes, I completely understand. Yeah. Well, that's the end of the show, and I had a good time.
Oh, our show, who is it sponsored by?
Oh, it is sponsored by TuBsWood.com, or Tubi's Woodworking, of course. Tuval Baruch. Look him up. Y'all look him up. He's everywhere. He's doing his cutting boards. He's doing all kinds of stuff. He's building nativity scenes. He's building shelves. He's building everything made out of wood. Because what does Tubi give you?
Wood.
He gives you wood. You know what? I was going to end with this. I actually found a song that's actually perfect for because we put the show on Thursdays. I'm trying to see what the copyright issues are with it because it's actually from a TV show.
Oh.
But it's so perfect for our show. And in order for you to understand that, I need you to go to IFC, or you can go on Hulu, and you can watch Sherman Showcase, which is a funny sketch comedy about a show that's kind of like Soul Train.
Yeah.
From the 60s all the way up to the mid 2000s. It's hilarious. And they have all these parody songs. That one of my favorites, besides, there's this song called Thursday Night. And it's, I'm trying to remember the name of the actress. But I'm not going to try to figure it out right now. I'll try to figure it out another time. But there was one song on there, Dropping It Low for Jesus. That was it was hilarious. It was so hilarious, I just rolled on the floor. Now, as someone who I'm not going to say, like I said, I want to remind people, my parents were not very big church people. Yeah. It wouldn't be until stepmother number 2 or 3, where church was the big thing, that she would have gasped if she had heard this song, because it is just, just, it's not vulgar. The amazing thing is the song wasn't vulgar, but it's a song called Dropping It for Jesus. That's all you need. Yeah. And at the beginning of the sketch, it's when he's introducing the group, these are 4 women in choir robes going, well, our minister taught us this when we were little girls. And first of all, that already makes it kind of creepy to begin with. So there's a creep factor in there, but it's hilarious. So just go to IFC or go to Hulu, Sherman Showcase. It's a hilarious show. So anything else for today? Because I think you have to
like us on Facebook.
Make sure to like us on Facebook. Make sure. I know we didn't do it this week, but I'm trying to make it a regular habit on the show. When you do like us or what have you, I would like to. I would like to give you a shout out, especially if you're on Facebook, because I feel like that when you're on Facebook and you're giving us shout outs, that's really says something. Instagram, of course, I'll be looking for you on Instagram. Twitter is a little bit different, because Twitter, you really have to work hard on Twitter.
Yeah, you do have to work hard on Twitter.
Oh, God, you have to work so hard on Twitter, and I don't want to do all that hard work on Twitter. So if you send out, we'll say your name. We'll mention you, and we'll appreciate everything that you're doing. We're going to be doing Patreon here. We're going to start our new Patreon in January. We're not going to do it during the holidays. I want to wait until after the holidays are over with. But we're going to start doing live shows as well on Patreon, and we're going to work out tiers and all kinds of little stuff, because Miss Charlotte is a sewer, and she's making all kinds of jock straps and masks and all kinds of stuff. So so we're gonna work out some stuff that little gifts that you can get from the show, that kind of thing. I'll be throwing my hat in that too. I mean, I'm not a crafts person, but I'll figure some shit out. I've been talking to a couple of friends, and they're like, you need T-shirts, you need this and that, and blah 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 blah. Yeah. So I'm gonna look at some options. But I'm going to wait until January.
I was gonna see if we can get us some merch, but like cartoon of ourselves, and then we could just paste it everywhere. But
that's what I was thinking too. That we can get I'll
tell you after the show. But
exactly.
A little bit about
it. I think in January we're going to really start getting our Patreon up and running. so that you can watch some of the shows. We actually did a Zoom today, and I recorded it, but there were some issues in the recording. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to get around that. But for the most part, we look forward to bringing you more episodes, bringing you more stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. So we're looking to next year, 2021. We're gonna get vaccinated.
Yeah, everyone's starting to get vaccinated.
We're gonna get vaccinated. Now I heard that it's gonna be 2 vaccines. You're gonna have to get 2 shots with some of the vaccines. So it's gonna be a little bit something or other. Like I said, I know that I can get a little long-winded, and I have to remind the people on the other side of the mics. You gotta let me know when to stop, because I know this bitch said she had to be at a party at 5 o'clock. And what time is it?
5:10.
It's 5:10. She was supposed to be at a party 10 minutes ago. But, you know, we're gays. When have any gays ever arrived to anything on time? And I'm waiting for a response from Charlotte.
I got here late to begin with.
So yes,
I'm supposed to get here at 2, and then
you should have seen what I'm looking at Charlotte waiting for her to answer. She's just on her phone, just doing her thing.
Someone texted me about something, and it's just like,
oh my goodness. Okay, so let's call this a day, bitch.
Alrighty.
We really do need to. You know what? In January, we're gonna come up with something to end the show. So, but for right now, we done.
Get out.
Get out.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.